are acquiring DeRozan, but the deal also means moving Harrison Barnes to the Spurs. Sacramento is then trading Chris Duarte 2 second-round picks and cash to the Bulls as part of this deal as well. And DeRozan now gets to partner with De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis.
Oklahoma City Thunder get Caruso in exchange for Giddey, and everyone on the internet wanted to know, wait, straight up?
The Chicago Bulls are going to be bad next season.
Yes, the Chicago Bulls should be bad next year. Last year, the Bulls were 39-43 and finished as the 9th seed in the East. After another season of mediocrity, the Chicago Bulls and all-star DeMar DeRozan went in another direction, as the Bulls traded DeMar to the Kings for Chris Duarte and 2 second-round picks. In this video, I'm going to answer the following questions. What do I think of the Bulls' current young core? What should the Bulls do with the vets? What should the Bulls' playstyle be? And what is the future of the Chicago Bulls? And that last question is the most important. First, when talking about the Bulls' young core, it starts with Coby White. Coby averaged 19 points, 5 assists, and around 4 rebounds last year and was second in most improved. Such a great season for Coby White, as with Zach injured and a more improved role, getting more touches, Coby White broke out. Coby White had a strong season last year as he improved his finishing, his footwork. He also improved his scoring and playmaking. Coby White was the main ball handler in the Bulls offense last year, and I hope that continues this season. Next, we got Ayo, another young point guard who had a great season last year. Ayo averaged 12 points per game, had 3 assists, shot 50% from the field, and 40% from 3. I do not think that Ayo is going to be a star, but Ayo is such an important piece for the Bulls' future because of how consistent he is on both sides of the floor. With his playmaking, his defense, his ability to get to the rim, just an overall solid player. Now we got Josh Giddey. After last year where Giddey struggled in the playoffs because of his inability to space the floor, the Thunder gave up on him and traded Giddey for Alex Caruso. I'm still not in love with the trade, but Josh Giddey is still a solid player because of his passing. He's very unselfish, which is good for a team offense, having a pass-first type of guy that cares more about getting his teammates involved than scoring himself. It's also the type of passes that he makes. He really tries to make some difficult passes that if they go through, it will be an easy layup. They're very tough to make, and that's why Josh Giddey is known as a passer, because he can make some tough passes. Last year, Josh Giddey had a down year, but it was still a pretty solid season. He averaged 12 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. The shooting from 3 is still terrible, which is why I really don't like it. How is Josh Giddey going to look in a playoff setting if his 3-point shot is never going to improve? Because we've seen it before with the Thunder. Teams always just put their center on Josh Giddey and overhelp and dare him to shoot. So that's my big concern with Josh Giddey, but maybe since he can develop more, since there's less pressure for the Bulls to be immediately good, maybe he can develop that 3-point shot and become a real floor spacer and not someone that gets played off of playoff games. The question I have is, do the Bulls believe in Josh Giddey more than someone like an Ayo? And if so, why do they have so much faith in Josh Giddey? Because Ayo had a really good season, and he also had a couple of really good games. That one game against the Rockets, that other game against the Wizards, I think both of those games, Ayo had over 35 points or something. So we've seen Ayo make improvements, but now you're putting more faith in another young guard in Josh Giddey. In addition, another thing that I do not like about Josh Giddey is that he's so predictable as a scorer and he's so limited, which that really concerns me. He doesn't have a lot of moves to create his own shot. It's like a newborn baby, except Giddey is 21 years old and still hasn't really developed any effective dribble moves. What Josh mainly does is he likes to drive left and then looks to finish with his strong right hand. He may have an in and out or a crossover or a spin, but that's really it. He really doesn't have a bag, which I know that's not like a good way to analyze a basketball player, but you need to have multiple ways to score in isolation against defenders, and Josh Giddey is just limited there, and I don't think he's going to develop that side of his offensive game. Josh Giddey being so predictable makes him easy to guard because he is not athletic enough both speed-wise and as a vertical athlete to be an effective straight-line driver and finisher at the rim. I still think that Josh will have more success in Chicago because he's going to have the ball in his hands more. But the question that I have is, what does that mean for Kobe White? Does this hurt the amount of touches that Kobe gets on offense? Finally, we got the rookie Matas Buzelis. I'm surprised the Bulls got him at 11, but my draft knowledge is kind of trash, so I just hope that he becomes a steal. Watching him in the summer league, he looks skilled offensively, has nice touch, but he's also a good athlete and can move without the ball. I just hope he continues to get stronger and can become a consistent three-point shooter, but the potential is there. Defensively, he should be solid too. Matas has shown potential as a good help defender, and he has good awareness on defense, but his on-ball defense I think can improve. Now, what to do with the vets? The first question we got to ask ourselves is, who wants them? And I mean this in a nice way because with how contracts are getting, it's getting harder to trade other players to other teams. Obviously, I'm going to start with Zach LaVine. I've thought for the last year that it would be better for Zach to get traded, both for Zach LaVine and the Bulls. I still think that Zach is an incredible player. I just think he doesn't fit the timeline anymore. So if Zach LaVine is a great player, then why does no one want to trade for Zach LaVine? And the answer is pretty obvious. It is because no one wants Zach LaVine's contract. Zach LaVine makes around 97 for 3 more years. That's what's remaining in his contract, which that's a lot. Especially for someone that you do not know if he can be a second option on a championship team despite being such a talented scorer. I love Zach, but teams do not want to trade for that contract because that puts them in the second apron. Of course, Zach got that money for a reason. He's a great player, and the Bulls aren't completely dumb for giving him that contract. I mean, they're a little dumb, but not totally dumb. Zach LaVine in his last 4 seasons healthy has averaged 25.5 points per game and has shot 48% from the field and 39% from 3 on 7.6 attempts per game. Remember last year, even though he was injured for most of the year, he had a 51-point game against the Pistons. Now take that with a grain of salt because it's against the Pistons, but the Bulls lost that game that Zach LaVine had 51 points. The Bulls lost to the Pistons twice, which is insanely sad. That is embarrassing. Now, I think that the Pistons will be better next year. I love Cade, but if we're just thinking about it, that Pistons team last year was terrible, and they were coached by Monty Williams, which it was a train wreck. Monty didn't even want to be there. He just robbed Detroit of all the money, and the Bulls lost to this team twice. Anyway, Zach is a great athlete and a great scorer. He can drive going both left and right. He is a good three-point shooter off movement, hitting catch-and-shoot threes off the dribble. He also has a nice step-back jumper going left and right, and he's also really good in transition whenever the Bulls decide to be a fast-break team. Zach LaVine is still an elite offensive talent when healthy. So there has to be a team that needs a guy that can score 25 points per game, right? Right? It's not that easy. If it is, then Zach would have already been traded. Not only you have to worry about the contract, but you also have to worry about his defense. His defense is really inconsistent. He has shown that he can be a good defender when he's focused, using his athleticism to make defensive plays, but he's also had a lot of boneheaded plays on defense that makes him an inconsistent defender. The Bulls just need to hope that 1, Zach is healthy, and 2, a team becomes desperate at the trade deadline, and that team thinks that Zach LaVine can put them over the top, because he's still an incredibly talented player, and he can help a contender, but can he put you over the top? I'm not sure about that. I'm comfortable with Zach staying until the trade deadline because of this report. Say what you want about his play style or his contract, or if he can be a second option on a championship team and help you win, or a third option. The point is, Zach has been a professional since he became a Chicago Bull. He's been through so much coaches, so much dysfunction, and he's been loyal to Chicago. So I always respect Zach for that. When it comes to Nikola Vucevic, I do not think it matters if we keep him or trade him. On defense, he moves in slow motion, and on offense, he misses a lot of open threes. So I don't think he's going to help us win that much games. But what I do like about Vuce is what I talked about Josh Giddey to less of an extent. Nikola Vucevic is unselfish, and he's a good passer. So I think for a young team, having a passing center is a good thing, and having a vet like that cares about his teammates succeeding, I think that's going to help this team for a rebuild. So I won't mind if Vuce doesn't get traded. I really don't care. Finally, Lonzo Ball. He hasn't played in 2 or 3 years, but I just want to see him healthy and playing again because he's such a great player when healthy. He's one of the best transition passers in the NBA, passers in general. He's such a great three-point shooter, and when he's healthy, he's going to play such good basketball. It's just, can he stay healthy? So I don't care if he's on the Bulls or not. I just want Lonzo Ball to be healthy. Next, what should the Bulls' play style be for the 2024-2025 NBA season? Hopefully the Bulls' play style does not disappoint me. It probably will, but anyways, for the Bulls, the good news is when you want your team to be bad and suck, you do not have to worry about all the nerd stuff. What I mean by that is all the defensive things that I wanted the Bulls to do when they were good, but they just didn't, like icing a pick and roll, so whenever teams try to run those middle pick and rolls, they wouldn't give up an easy layup to the roll man or wide open corner three. They just didn't know how to guard middle pick and rolls, and that really annoyed me. Or the fact that the Bulls overheld more than any team in the NBA and just give up open threes to some of the best three-point shooters in the NBA. Teams would hit like 14 threes on the Bulls. I do not need to worry about that stuff anymore, and it's refreshing. I want the Bulls to be terrible on defense because good teams are good defensive teams. If you're good on defense, you're going to win basketball games. I'm more focused on the offense for a young team. I just want the Bulls to play as fast as possible, be a transition team, and I think since they're younger, since Josh Giddey is known for what he does in transition as a passer, and since I love DeMar, but he's not a transition player, he plays extremely slow, I think that they can finally play a more fast break style of offense. I also want the Chicago Bulls to be an unselfish basketball team. Last year, the Bulls were 10th in the NBA when it comes to passes with 286.7, which is really good, but I want the Bulls to be in the top 5. And if they are not, that will disappoint me more than me missing all the Bulls championship runs during the Michael Jordan era. Moving on, I'm interested on how the fit between our young guards will work out because it seems that Josh was promised an important role with the Bulls offense, which I'm kind of okay with because of his passing, but I'm also not okay. I just do not know how to feel about this. Josh Giddey is best when he has the ball in his hands because he can't shoot, but Kobe White had his best season of his career because of the amount of touches he had last year. Am I okay with Josh Giddey running the offense? The answer is maybe. It depends how Kobe White is used off the ball. Will he just be standing around and spotting up, or will Billy and the Bulls run off-ball plays that can get Kobe some easy shots like pin downs, flare screens, staggers, screen the screener? There's more plays. I'm just too lazy right now to give you more examples. My point is, I think if Josh Giddey is the point guard of the Bulls offense, I think it would be best to use Kobe White as an off-ball scorer. I just do not want Kobe to stand around and do nothing while Josh Giddey has the ball in his hands. I want Kobe to have a balance of creating on the ball while also moving without the ball to get some easy shots. My favorite set that the Bulls would run for Kobe White last year was double drags and double drag shallow. They're basically the same thing. The point of these plays is it's a double ball screen and it's to get Kobe White going towards the middle of the floor. Now, double drag shallow, the play is just basically the same double screen formation, but the guard is the second screener and he doesn't set a screen. He just goes to the left wing, as you're going to see here. Look how much space Kobe White has on this drive. It's like red carpet. No one's there. It's just an easy straight line drive, easy layup. Anyways, all I care about is until the Bulls trade Zach LaVine, Kobe White should be the Bulls' #1 option. Period. Finally, the most important question in the video. What is the Chicago Bulls' future? I think it'll look pretty good if we can get a really good young player in the 2025 NBA draft. And don't take my advice, I'm kind of an idiot when it comes to draft stuff, but if we get like a Cooper Flag, then we're going to be looking pretty good because we have a solid foundation with Kobe, Matis, and Ayo. Hopefully Josh Giddey surprises us, and I think the Bulls can have something going here because I think the Bulls are missing that #1 option, that generational talent, and I think that Cooper Flag would be that for the Chicago Bulls. And I think that Billy Donovan is a good head coach for a rebuild. I know Bulls fans do not like Billy. They think that he's not a good head coach, which every fan base thinks that their head coach sucks, but I think that Billy Donovan would be successful as a rebuild head coach because of what DeMar DeRozan said.
Shout out Billy. I know
Yeah,
Billy let you rock.
Shout out Billy, man. Billy Donovan, man. He let me,
Nah, Billy let you rock.
Billy let you
one
rock,
thing I
man.
fuck with Billy for, man. He let you hoop, he let you play, he let you fuck up, he let you do, you know what I mean? As long as it's in
you could talk to him about anything. Billy, I love Billy, man.
Yeah.
I think Billy's ability to connect with his players is good for a rebuild. I hope, I think.